The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. What is going on with Pike? The deal mired in confusion. No clear explanation for Pike's exit from Bahamas Great Company's management. Michael Bonnaby says every dollar spent at beaches and parks can be accounted for. And Prime Minister Davis says they are serious about immigration. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new day. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. It's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning, our monthly series with Small Business Development Center. We're going to be talking with them about their In Power Project initiative. We'll get all the details about that and other things happening with the SBDC. That's straight ahead, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, amid public outrage over reports that the Bahamas Public Parks and Beaches Authority spent $141 million in just over 4 years in office, its chairman, Michael Bonnaby, saying that every dollar the authority spent can be accounted for. In a statement yesterday, Bonnaby saying, quote, "That is because this administration put financial controls in place. Every payment is supported by a valid contract, a business license, and a tax compliance certificate. Payments go directly to verified vendor accounts. The authority also keeps supporting records, including documentation and photographic evidence to confirm that work was completed. That is the difference between what was happening under the F&M and what is happening now under the PLP. Bonnaby said the authority is responsible for managing over 200 parks throughout the country and that more than 1,200 Bahamian contractors benefit from the work of the Parks and Beaches Authority. He says, quote, "These are Bahamian workers, small business owners, tradesmen, landscapers, truckers, service providers, and families who depend on this work to earn an honest living." It remains unclear, though, to whom these contracts were awarded and for what specific purposes. Under the minutes-led FNM government, the authority spent a total of $84,288,232 over 4 years in office. Upon coming to office in September 2021, members of the current PLP government were highly critical of that spending, with Prime Minister Philip Davis labeling it a slush fund and Bonnaby calling the authority's pre-election spending electioneering. Amid confusion that arose after an announcement this week that American Eric Pike is out as chairman of the company formed to modernize the electricity transmission and distribution system on New Providence, the government of the Bahamas said Wednesday the ownership structure of the T&D network remains unchanged, presumably confirming that Pike's company is still the majority owner of the T&D assets. Pike's Bahamian subsidiary Island Grid Solutions is a major shareholder in Bahamas Grid Company, which the Davis administration previously announced took ownership of the system from BPL. Pike's exit surprised observers as the government had announced that it had a 25-year agreement with Pike Corporation, and Island Grid was in as a T&D manager for the long haul. Under a joint venture partnership, the government announced in 2024 that it owns 40% of the shares of the special purpose vehicle called Bahamas Grid Company, and Island Grid Solutions owns 60%. Bahamas Grid Company announced Pike's departure as chairman on Monday and the transition to an all-Bahamian-led operating model. But the government's announcement on Wednesday appears to be saying that Pike's company remains the majority owner of T&D assets. A quote from Eric Pike in a statement from BGC on Monday suggested he has severed ties with the company. He said, quote, "We are honored to have had the opportunity to set up BGC and conduct the biggest grid upgrade project for New Providence over the past 2 years. I'd like to recognize the dedicated employees of IGS, Pike, and BGC, whose hard work and commitment were instrumental to this achievement, and extend our best wishes to BGS." During a rally on Abaco last night, Prime Minister Philip Davis says his administration is serious about dealing with people who are living illegally in the Bahamas and building on Crown land. Davis saying last night, quote, "You know I have a Minister of Works and a Minister of National Security who mean business. When we say Crown land is for Bahamians, we mean it. And people have come to learn if you build on Crown land without permission, we're going to knock it down." The Prime Minister saying, quote, "We are for real, follow the law, get arrested and deported. It's a difference between talking and acting. The FNM knows how to make noise, but they don't know how to make a difference." Back in 2023, the government reconvened the Shantytown Task Force following a decision by Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson, who lifted an injunction she'd placed for 5 years after determining that Shantytown eradication and the policy of the Minister administration was illegal. A Bahamian woman who registered to vote in a constituency where she doesn't live has been banned from the register for 3 years and fined. 44-year-old Vani Brutus of Zirconia Court pleaded guilty to making a false statement at her arraignment before Senior Magistrate Kendra Kelly Burrows yesterday. Although Brutus lives off Prince Charles Drive, she told a revising officer at the Parliamentary Registration Department that she lived in the Southern Shores constituency. Brutus told the court that she intended to get an apartment in Southern Shores. However, the magistrate told her that you are supposed to register where you live. She was given the maximum fine of $1,000 and will spend 2 months in prison if the money isn't paid. A man has been charged with causing the death of his passenger during a collision earlier this year. 21-year-old Ephraim Osney of South Beach is charged with vehicular manslaughter in relation to the death of Chanel Adderley on January 19th. Osney was allegedly heading west on Prince Charles Drive when he lost control of the Suzuki Swift he was driving and crashed into a utility pole in the eastbound lane. He was not required to enter a plea to the charge when he appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Ansela Evans. Bail was set at $9,000 and the matter is expected to be fast-tracked to the Supreme Court for a trial on August 27th. And the Court of Appeal overturning the 2-year suspended sentence given to a man who negligently caused a baby's death, the court imposing a 2-year prison sentence instead. Prosecutors appealed the sentence that was given to 32-year-old Kirkwood Thompson for the January 16, 2023 death of 3-year-old Tanisha Milford in New Providence. 3-month-old, rather. At the appeal, Thompson's lawyer conceded that Justice Janine Wish Gomez did not have the authority to hand down a suspended sentence after Thompson pleaded guilty to manslaughter by negligence. On the other hand, prosecutor Bradford McKenzie asked the court to impose a sentence of 4 years given the nature of the injuries the infant sustained. McKenzie argued that the injuries outlined in the autopsy were inconsistent with a traffic accident. He alleged that Thompson pleaded guilty before the prosecution had the chance to upgrade the charge. Thompson, reportedly the nephew of a cabinet minister, had told police that his girlfriend's daughter fell out of a car seat when he swerved to avoid a collision. However, his lawyer, Rizard Humes, countered that there was no evidence before the court from the pathologist as to the possible cause of the injuries. Thompson faced a possible maximum sentence of 5 years. Overseas, Iran fired on 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz and seized 2 of them Wednesday, intensifying its assault on shipping in the key waterway. The attacks coming a day after U.S. President Donald Trump extended a ceasefire while maintaining an American blockade of Iranian ports. The standoff between the U.S. and Iran has effectively choked off nearly all exports through the strait, where 20% of the world's traded oil passes in peacetime. Iranian media and the paramilitary Revolutionary Guard said the Guard was bringing the 2 ships to Iran, marking a further escalation, though the White House said the seizures didn't violate ceasefire terms. The conflict has already sent gas prices skyrocketing far beyond the region and raised the cost of food and a wide array of other products. The price of Brent crude oil, the international standard, nosed over $100 per barrel, marking a 35% increase from pre-war levels. But stock markets still appear to be shrugging it off. In areas of southern Lebanon, it has occupied since agreeing last week to a ceasefire with Hezbollah. The Israeli army has been destroying homes it says were used as outposts by the Iran-backed militant group. But the demolitions are happening on such a wide scale that residents, officials, and UN peacekeepers are increasingly worried that large numbers of people displaced by the latest war will have nowhere to return if the fragile truce holds. Lebanese officials plan to raise the issue of widespread demolitions Thursday when they hold ceasefire talks with their Israeli counterpart Washington, part of the first direct negotiations between the 2 countries in decades. And Colombian President Gustavo Petro is visiting Venezuela Friday for key talks on border security and trade with the country's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez. The meeting, their first, comes months after the U.S. military seized former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife from their home in January. Colombia is lobbying to become a buyer of Venezuelan gas and last month sought an exemption from U.S. sanctions to invest in Venezuela's electricity projects and natural gas ventures. This could include the reopening of a gas pipeline between the neighboring South American countries. Petro's administration also reaching agreements with Venezuela's state-owned oil company to replace the pipeline in the Colombian section. Petro and Rodriguez are also expected to discuss the presence of illegal armed groups and drug trafficking along their shore. Islamic militants attacking a remote village in northeastern Nigeria overnight, killing 11 people and leaving 2 critically injured. It was the latest violence in Africa's most populous country that has long been battling a complex security crisis. The attack took place late on Tuesday in Pugabu, a community in a remote area on the fringes of the Borno state, the epicenter of Nigeria's long fight against an Islamic insurgency. Villagers said they buried the victims on Wednesday and attributed the attack to the extremist Boko Haram group.
This is Sports Update.
In sports, Bahamian Collegiate basketball player Rima Collins had a career year with the Florida International University Panthers and has recently made the decision to join the Texas Tech University women's basketball program for the 2026-27 NCAA Division I basketball season. Collins' decision to join the FIU Panthers program completely turned around her collegiate career following 2 seasons spent with the University of Mississippi. More on that in today's Guardian Sports section. And from the NBA, Bahamian NBA rookie guard Valdez Vijay Edgecombe Jr. has knack for playing well against the Boston Celtics, as proven this season, following a 32-point blowout loss to the hands of Celtics in Game 1 of their first-round series in the Eastern Conference playoffs in the NBA. Edgecombe will lead 76ers to a 111-97 victory at TD Gardens. On Tuesday in Boston, the Sixers rookie star had another career night, dropping a team-high 30 points and adding 10 rebounds, 2 dimes, and 2 steals in 35 minutes of playing time. He shot 12 for 20 from the field and cashed in on 6 for 10 from three-point range. He's the first rookie since Tim Duncan to put up at least 30 points and 10 rebounds in the playoff game. Duncan accomplished the feat on May 5th, 1998 against the Phoenix Suns. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Star General. So we've got Hoxie Islands, and that's going to continue to support moderate to fresh breezes and cooler temperate frontal boundary just south of Inagua. Will produce a few showers across the southern Bahamas. The front will continue to weaken and meander just south of the region, while weakening high pressure supports mostly stable weather, along with gentle to fresh breezes through to the end of the week. More on the extended outlook in a bit. But for today, there is a moderate risk of rip currents along Atlantic beaches, as well as those in the southeast Bahamas, so beachgoers should exercise caution. Your forecast for today, the northern half of the country looking at a mix of sun and clouds today, turning partly cloudy tonight, only about a 10 to 20% chance of a passing shower. Winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots. For the southern half of the country, we're looking at partly cloudy conditions today with a 10 to 20% chance of passing showers. Winds east at 10 to 15 knots for the Central Islands, northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots for the southeast Bahamas. High temperatures on either side of 80 in the northern half, around 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius, and about 81 for the central southeast Bahamas, that's 27, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight in the low 60s for the northwest Bahamas, even the upper 50s for the extreme northern islands, and the low to mid 60s or even upper 60s for the central and southeast Bahamas. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Star General, insurance made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
It is time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
When it comes to hearts at Cleveland Clinic, you can't miss a beat. You seek the best care possible. work with the brightest minds, and leave no stone unturned to get to the heart of the matter. Because understanding is always the first step to overcoming. For every heart in the world, see how we're advancing the future of heart care at Cleveland Clinic today.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
North Andros, it's your time. The F&M Fire Forward Rally is coming to North Andros. We're coming to F&M headquarters on Queens Highway, Thursday, April 23rd at 8 p.m. Carlton Bowleg, Sir Fent Road, Dr. Nicholas Fox, Vandia Stewart, your candidate Janice Oliver, and our next Prime Minister, Michael Pintard. North Andros, come and hear how the F&M will work for you. 8 p.m.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
CFAL is a proud sponsor of Team Bahamas for the 2026 Carifta Games.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channels 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning to our listeners, especially those in Grand Bahama.
Great to have you with us as always. Hope everything's going well for you.
Everything's okay. How are you?
Doing okay. Right here. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about this morning, a lot going on in the news, but also in business. A little bit later, we're going to be talking with SBDC, our monthly series with them, and they are going to tell us about their In Power project initiative and a whole lot more. They always have a lot going on. We'll find out more about that from them today. That's ahead. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And in the news, quite a bit to talk about in the papers today. We'll get to that in a bit, but we heard about this yesterday, shortly after the show, and it is some sad news. I want to send condolences to the family and friends of Peter Gowdy with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce. And so getting the word yesterday that he passed away. He was the longest-serving board member of the chamber and had been on their labor and HR division. And some sad news. A nice guy, interesting guy. Didn't always agree with his views. In fact, some of his views were quite interesting. I don't know if you saw the papers about a week or two ago. He was in the papers in response to what the Minister of Labor was saying they would do, this is Pia Glover-Roll, if they got a second term, how they would fix once and for all this matter we've been dealing with for years on whether people are entitled to a paid lunch break. Right? When there were some revisions made a few years back, it became not exactly clear. And some employers have been generous and have been paying for the lunch break, but others are like, this doesn't say we have to. And no one has fixed it in all these years, which is very, very weird. We've had many different administrations, but they haven't done it. But the current Davis administration says they will fix it, and then Gowdy was quoted in the papers as saying that why should we pay you to have to eat, which is really strange. But he had some interesting views, and I was looking forward to talking about that on the show actually. But it wasn't meant to be. What do you make of that though, Laverne? Because that's a strange thing to say. I mean, you do want your employees, you want the best for them, right? You want them to have a break. You want them to be able to sustain themselves so they continue to work for you. Is it that big a deal? Are you muted, Laverne?
No.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
hear me, Dwight?
No, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you
Okay,
now.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I've worked for a company that, right?
Mhm.
No problem. And then I've also worked for a company that didn't pay.
Mhm.
So you put in the X amount of hours. Of course, you got your lunch break, but they didn't pay for it, right?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What was their reasoning, and how did you feel about that?
I was taken aback. Never experienced that before.
Right.
I was like, because originally when they said the work hours, I was like, and then, I was about to ask, well, that's a additional, because it's normally 8 hours?
Yeah.
Right. And then in my head, I'm calculating, I'm like, this is a little, and they go, oh, well, we don't pay for lunch.
Mm-hmm. So you're essentially expected to be on the job. It could be 9 hours. It could be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unless you take all of your work in one big 8-hour block. Yeah. So, and it's been ambiguous like this for a long time. Again, I just don't understand lawmakers. I don't know what do they know what their role is? Do they know that they are supposed to be fixing these things? But they use it when it's convenient, and they decades later will say we're going to finally address this thing that they caused. It just really. But anyway.
Yeah.
But Gowdy definitely always looking out for the employer, and I mean that might not be fair to say, but he definitely was a stickler for this kind of stuff, and we appreciated his honesty. And again, whenever he was on, he was very friendly, and we will miss him. So, but I was prepared to do a whole show on that. I was gonna do a show, and I'm sure many employers still feel that way. So we might still need to do a show on that.
I just want to say we should still do it.
Absolutely.
We still do it.
It's I'm sure a lot of people are stressed out about it. And again, why has it taken so long for someone to say, and that's only talk, that they're going to address it? Just wild. Let's take this call really quickly. I hope you're talking about what we're talking about. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air.
Good morning to you both.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And happy birthday to my third daughter, 20th year today.
Oh, wonderful. Happy birthday.
And she's having a bachelor's degree today, this month. This school year from UB.
Wonderful.
Now, regarding the point about paying for working for lunch. Now, I know some private sector do it. Ministry of Labor, it should be something standard. I just listened to, a listening passage or reading English in BGCSE or BJC. And remember the situation with the sorry horses and the horse and carriage. When the two horses fell along, one died. It was, they thought it was deprivation. And they came up with a new policy that the horse must get 2 hours rest. Now, we human beings are far more important than the horses.
Well.
And I don't see why having an hours paid for lunch would be would ought to be otherwise, would be disagreed.
Huh?
So it should
It's
be standard.
been
You
happening.
don't need necessarily an election promise.
They could have fixed that a long time
that
ago.
That could happen now.
Yeah, they could have fixed that before the House was dissolved, right? Or prorogued. I don't understand it, but it's benefiting some people. It certainly is. And
so it should be across the board. It should be across the board standard. Each of us to have a heart.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's very important. Thank you so much for the call. And again, happy birthday and congratulations to your daughter. This person says here, how many employees are aware if they are paid for their lunch break? Many do not do the math. That's a very interesting text. You were right about that. We are making lots of assumptions. Yeah, indeed. Wow. Okay. So, again, condolences to Mr. Gowdy and his family and to everybody with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce. Definitely an interesting character who will be missed. All right. So, as always, the courts in this country are even more exciting than the roadways. It's just amazing what's going on. So, this one here, a woman fined for registering in the wrong constituency. RTZ Davis writing about this. So, I mean, fined is the least of the issues, I think this is even bigger than that. So RTZ Davis writes that a Bahamian woman who registered to vote in a constituency where she does not live has been banned for 3 years. Banned for 3 years. 44-year-old Vanny Brutus of Zirconia Court pleaded guilty to making a false statement at her arraignment before Senior Magistrate Kendrick Kelly Burrows yesterday. Although Brutus lives off Prince Charles Drive, she told a revising officer at the Parliamentary Registration Department that she lived in the Southern Shores constituency. Brutus told the court that she intended to get an apartment in Southern Shores. Oh my God. However, the magistrate told her that you are supposed to register where you live. She was given the maximum fine of $1,000 and will spend 2 months in prison if the money isn't paid. Yeah. What do you make of that? What do you make of that? What could she possibly be trying? Well, let me not put any thoughts in your heads, but yeah.
Let me not lead.
You're right. Let me not lead you, as they would say in court, leading the witnesses. Yeah. Right. What do you think of that, folks? What do you think of that? And do you think that's appropriate? 3 years banned. She can't vote in this election, and she's been fined. 44 years old. Boy,
was that her first time voting?
I don't know, but this is very silly.
Because I'm thinking, if it's not, you know how this works, right? You know how this works. What do you mean you were getting an apartment?
Yeah, she intends to. So I mean, like when? When? Like next year or so.
Not even that. I just moved into that area a month ago.
I just put down a deposit. No, not even.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
This summer I was going to drive around and look and see what's available.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a place there. So I thought, you know what? One of the best ways to see if that's the kind of neighborhood that I want to live in is and vote in that area.
Well, depending on which constituency, your lines when you vote are either going to be very short or very long. So that there might be something to that. Ah, boy.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mom, no. Oh,
wow.
Mom.
That's insane.
Yeah. Well, what are we doing? What are we,
Utter foolishness. But I'm glad that, again, we're picking up on these things and charging these clowns when they do these horrible things. My goodness. Okay. All right. So a couple other court stories here. Man charged in death of passenger. A man has been charged with causing the death of his passenger during a collision earlier this year. 21-year-old Ephraim Osney of South Beach is charged with vehicular manslaughter in relation to the death of Chanel Adderley on January 19th. Osney was allegedly heading west on Prince Charles Drive when he lost control of the Suzuki Swift he was driving and crashed into a utility pole in the eastbound lane. So you went clear across the highway. Required to enter a plea to the charge when he appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Ancella Evans. Bail was set at $9,000, and the matter is expected to be fast-tracked to the Supreme Court for trial on August 27th. Oh, boy. And then this one. This one is a head-scratcher. Man jailed for death of baby. Got to follow this one carefully. So the Court of Appeal on Wednesday overturned the 2-year suspended sentence given to a man who negligently caused a baby's death and imposed a 2-year prison sentence instead. It's a big change. Prosecutors appealed the sentence that was given to 32-year-old Kirkwood Thompson for the January 16th, 2023 death of 3-month-old Tanisha Milford in New Providence. At the appeal, Thompson's lawyer, Rizard Humes, conceded that Justice Janine Weish Gomez did not have the authority to hand down a suspended sentence after Thompson pleaded guilty to manslaughter by negligence. On the other hand, prosecutor Bradford to impose a sentence of 4 years given the nature of the injuries the infant sustained. The prosecutor argued that the injuries outlined in the autopsy report were inconsistent with a traffic accident. He alleged that Thompson pleaded guilty before the prosecution had the chance to upgrade the charge. How does all that happen?
I want to go back to what are they? So originally, was he saying that the baby was in a car accident?
It seems so.
But when they investigated, they're like, no,
No.
these injuries.
Definitely not. It's very disturbing. So, and it gets worse. Thompson, reportedly the nephew of a cabinet minister, had told police that his girlfriend's daughter fell out of a car seat when he swerved to avoid a collision.
Okay.
That's a very hard swerve. However, his lawyer countered that there was no evidence before the court from the pathologist as to the possible cause of the injuries. Thompson faced a possible maximum sentence of 5 years. But obviously the Court of Appeal was satisfied with the prosecution's case there and imposed a 2-year prison sentence instead. Wow. Oh,
so
boy.
Was there a pathology report done?
Seems so. But it just didn't fit with the injuries of falling out of the car seat.
Right.
And was she strapped into the car seat?
I'm curious with in terms of what exactly it said the cause of death was.
And who is this guy in relation to the baby?
Apparently I don't know if she's still his girlfriend, but it was his girlfriend's baby. So.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I feel like, and I'm full out judging because I don't know the circumstances, I feel like it was a baby. I need to know more, but I feel like that 2-year sentence is a light sentence. And I am fully saying that not knowing all of the details. But I feel like he still got off easy.
Yep, something sounds, very, in any event, this is a terrible story. This is very sad. Very, very sad.
It is. And that's why I said, I don't know the circumstance, but I have, there's certain biases that I when it comes to children,
Yeah, I mean, 3-month-old? Come on.
Yeah.
And then, got to make an appeal to everyone.
And then you get a suspended sentence.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
No.
Well, but they must have believed that there was an accident or a near accident. But we must make an appeal to people with children. I know.
Oh my God!
For the love of God, be very careful. Be very careful who you leave especially babies this young.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also the car seat, of course, he said he swerved. Um,
That really
I'm
shouldn't happen
still
if you're buckled
seeing
in properly, right?
exactly, and I'm still seeing far too many people who I'm sure love their children with their babies in their lap, with their babies standing up, if there's space in between the gear shift.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta buckle. You have to put them in a car seat and make sure that they are strapped in securely. You absolutely have to.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Too many stories like this, and often not a parent, but somebody who
Yeah.
barely knows. Yeah, really very, very sad. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Papa, yeah, we miss you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and good morning to Laverne, Miss Gardner.
Good morning, Papa. I'm always happy to hear your voice.
I'm happy to hear you, too. Even when I don't call, I'm still happy to listen to you.
Good.
Dwight, you say that's vehicular homicide with the police?
You mean the one with the...
They give him 2 years for the baby?
No, it's two different stories. Two different stories. It was a person who got into a crash, and they've charged him with causing the death of the...
Vehicular
manslaughter. Vehicular manslaughter.
I'm talking about the last one you talk about.
The last one, he was charged with negligently causing the baby's death.
And they give him 2 years?
Yes, but that is
the
the
same
court...
person whose uncle is a nephew of a cabinet minister?
Reportedly.
Mm-hmm.
At first, he was suspended sentence at first, but the Court of Appeal overturned the sentence.
Whoa.
And he got 2 years.
He got 2 years because first he was on, that was like probation, eh?
I guess.
Yeah. You should give him more than 2 years. Somebody needs to appeal that case and look into that so we could set an example. We have to be responsible with these children, man. We got to be careful. I know it might not be intentional. It might be an accident, but come on, you buckle up and you do what you're supposed to. What kind of swing swerve that is to kill the baby? I know anything is possible, but the baby must get whacked or something, eh? Dwight, you're back now. They say anything about the police officer who killed the man on Village Road, who allegedly chopped the officer and the officer.
I need to ask y'all, what did I miss? Did anybody say anything?
Anything else?
I haven't heard anything. Laverne, have you heard anything? Nothing? We still don't know his name?
I have been reading papers and listening and waiting to hear something.
This is a mystery.
Waiting.
It is a mystery, and I think the commissioner of police have a duty to look into this. They hear everybody listen to the Guardian and listen to Dwight. It's been like going for over a month, feel like.
More than a month, absolutely. Huh? More than a month, yes, absolutely. It is. It doesn't make any sense.
Else? This must be another cabinet minister family or something. French family, love say.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It is time now for heads to roll. This is insane.
Right.
And
from the side, I'd feel so disappointed as commissioner. But some of these people need to resign. They just want these positions.
Yeah.
And then they come out talking about this and that and praising that, and like they ignoring the facts with the beam. They servants to us. We should already know who that officer is. I think we don't know who the man is who get kicked. I mean, the man is who died.
Yeah.
But the officer who do it, come on, that was his own personal gun. He have permission to carry a gun when he off duty. Was he on? There's so much questions, and they rate you playing crazy. Dwight, ever since you did let us know, or it was reported that I think they say the Guardian said we get 51 millionaires running in this next general election. The Red Cross came out. I think it was the director of operations or something. I don't know if it was the president or Mr. Sumner. No, it was a female who said. And they were saying, like, how they need to fund them. Although they had the Red Cross fair lately, it's like they say the kind of things where they be doing and giving canned food and helping this and the line so long and stuff, they still need help. So I was wondering if all of these so-called millionaires, them, who running in this election, if they could just write a check to Mr. That's who Sumner Ed. I forget his
well, maybe the Red Cross should register as a vendor for parks and beaches. They might be able to get some money for that.
Right. I ain't afraid, right? Like the song say on Chihuahua, like, I'm not afraid, right? But, right, we really got to be careful because some of these people are scary. Like, I don't know which words to use, right? You got to wait till after the election till we send them home because they need a timeout. Then we'll be able to really talk. People can't even talk right now about certain people. But politically, they come across like they're evil, you see?
Okay, well.
Yeah, if you understand, if people understand what I say. But Dwight, it's so good to have you back. Take care, Miss Gardner. Miss Gardner, Dwight, you can't put the producer in there. He ain't come yet, eh?
He's right there.
Can I give my number to the producer to give it to Miss Gardner so she can call me sometime, please?
Okay, producer, you can take Popper's number.
Thank you, Dwight. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. All right. How would that work? You think that might help them? Because it sounds like it's a Social Security trust. I don't know, and they're helping people who need help. And maybe the Red Cross can set one up. They might be responsible for the roundabouts near their organization. Yeah, they get some money that way.
They can be responsible for a park or a beach.
Right. They don't have to really do anything, but they'll get the money, it seems. So let's get into that. So you all support that, right?
Any charitable organization that needs additional funding or is in need of additional funding, they need to be able to register to get a contract for parks.
Why not? I think it's a great idea.
I think that they probably will do a better job too.
I'm sure they would, but I don't know if they necessarily have to do the work, seeing as that it seems to be acceptable, or only do it when the Guardian does it. You're responsible for, then you quickly rush and fix it up in 2 days. But yeah, so Bonnaby says every dollar spent at beaches and parks can be accounted for.
Okay.
So this is post his interview with another organization. So a statement was issued yesterday from the PLP. It was on PLP letterhead, Choose Progress press statement. Statement from the Progressive Liberal Party's candidate from Mount Moriah, Mikkel Bonnaby. So I'm repeating what we heard on the interview. He said more than 1,200 Bahamian contractors benefit from the work of the Bahamas Beaches and Parks Authority. Can we get this right? Is it Parks and Beaches or Beaches and Parks? It keeps going back and forth. Maybe that's why they're having issues. They can't figure out their name. They can't figure out their name.
It's like what?
Beaches and Parks rolls off the tongue easier though than Parks or Parks and Beaches. I don't know. Will be alphabetical order.
Either way, there's an issue. Okay?
They can't get their name. Again, we said it last week. Slush Fund Authority, like the SLA works better. Every single day and every single year, more than 1,200 Bahamians benefit from this. So these are Bahamian workers, small business owners, tradesmen, landscapers, truckers, service providers, and families who depend on this work to earn an honest living. So when people discuss the authority's spending, they must also understand that what that spending means in the life of this country. It means opportunity for Bahamians. It means jobs for Bahamians. It means support reaching communities across our islands. Again, it sounds like this should be folded into the Ministry of Social Services.
You know what, Dwight? Two things can be true at the same time. It can mean all of that, but it also could mean it's unregulated. It could also mean that there's wastage there. I hate when we, try to tug at people's heartstrings because no one is saying that fire everyone.
But Bonnaby is denying what you just said, Laverne. He said that is not true what you're saying. Not true.
Okay.
Let me read on. He says, the authority today manages the Bahamas. That's the whole country. Wow. The responsibility has grown, and the resources needed to meet that responsibility have also grown. Under this administration, the authority now has a permanent home, more staff, stronger operational support, a better fleet, and investment in modern fleet management so that vehicles and equipment can be tracked, maintained, and deployed properly. So hold on one second. So are the 1,200 people using this equipment or they have their own? They don't need to use the authority's stuff, right?
Right. If you've contracted, if I have hired you, if I have given you the contract to take care of a park, I also have to provide you with equipment.
So are you an employee? Why would that be?
I don't know.
He says this is the part.
And more staff doesn't mean more efficiency.
Well, oh my gosh.
Continue.
Well, I mean, that should be the motto in front of every every ministry in the country. Yeah, there's a lot of people here, but that don't mean. So this is the part in response to what you just said. Every dollar of taxpayer money spent by the authority is accounted for. Every dollar. That is because this administration put financial controls in place. Every payment is supported by a valid contract, a business license, and a tax compliance certificate. Payments go directly to verified vendor accounts. The authority also keeps supporting records, including documentation and photographic evidence, to confirm that work was completed. That is the difference between what was happening under the FNM and what is happening now under the PLP. This is where people were paid under contractual agreements and the work was either left undone or there was little evidence on file to support completion. There were payments made without proper contracts on file. There were vendors operating without business licenses and without tax compliance certificates. There were agreements issued without clear scopes of work. That is the condition this administration inherited. Under the PLP, those practices were brought to an end. It was introduced, order was introduced, proper oversight was introduced. Where's the evidence to support this? Well, maybe that'll come next week. I don't know, but that's what they're saying. That's
interesting. Yeah.
So, are you satisfied with that statement?
I know you must be waiting for a call.
Okay. All right. I guess that's our answer right there. The phone lines are lit up. We've got a lot of text messages. Let's get to what you have to say about this. We'll get to the Pike issue in our 8 o'clock hour. Oh, boy. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. I still want to understand, yesterday, this is after the interview that he did, when he said that there were parks that needed work for 10 years. That part just doesn't make sense to me. Well, how would a park be in disarray for 10 years?
10 years.
How would that happen? Where is this park? Under the water? Is it under the sea? Because why? Caller, what say you? Good morning. You're live on the air.
Yes, sir. Blessed morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Yes, sir. You know, all this issue about beaches and parks, right? It has to do with it seems to be everything about everything, right? The privatization of everything. Remember, we privatized the garbage, we privatized utilities, right? And what it is just laissez-faire. That's conservative. That's not progressive. We don't do conservative things, laissez-faire things, and call yourself progressive. You understand what I'm saying? The money spent, you could have made more jobs by these things remaining public than being private and you know what I'm saying? And employ more people rather than giving a contract to one person. You understand me? You employ other people. You see, and that's it. And with the BP, I think it's the same thing with the pipe thing. It's privatization, and they said what still remains, and even though Pike still remains Bahamian owned. What's that? 60% private.
Not Pike. Bahamas Grid.
Right, Bahamas Grid. So what happened to Pike shares?
Bahamian managed. Not
so
40%.
So where's Pike shares going? Where's that going?
I couldn't answer that question.
That's what needs to be asked. But anyway,
it's being asked, but it's not getting answered. Not quite yet. But yeah. Okay. Thanks for the call. Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Good morning.
Good morning.
One of the interesting things, and I always tell, I'm PLP, but one of the interesting things that I
turn on your radio for a bit. We're getting a little bit of feedback.
Sorry, I apologize. One of the things I always say about my party sometimes is that optics, we sometimes not have the best optics. It's not because a lot of times things done untoward, but it's simply because it's like sometimes we don't get out the information, the proper information, the direct information on a timely manner. And I'm hoping that, I'm hoping over it improves. Because one of the fundamental things about the parks, and it may not have been mentioned situation is that, and if you do remember, Dwight, when the Progressive Liberal Party came into government, there were still outstanding vendors. You remember now, because the amount that we're calculating is based on overall over the term of the Progressive administration. There were vendors who still had outstanding payments due to them. That amount was calculated in the same amount that we're now talking about as well from the previous administration.
You know, it might be true, but why was that not mentioned? That's easy. That's an easy thing to mention.
Dwight, this is what I'm trying to tell you right now. It's going to be, and if you do remember back, just remember there were a lot of vendors were making noise about the fact that they did not get paid. And these are the things that we do not do a good job on. I'm not saying that overrun wasn't in some instance, but the point is some of that.
Well, too bad, too sad, right? I mean, come on now, and you saying it, I mean.
Okay, right. If you go back into some of the,
but that's an easy out, an easy win. Just say a lot of that.
No, it's not an easy out.
Yes.
It's a fact.
No, it would have been for the government to say, hey, a lot of that was money that we had to pay because of what was left behind with minutes.
First words when I first came on? I said that.
Well, this doesn't make it any better.
Bad optics.
This is lousiness. That's like the worst PR team in the world, and they should all be fired. If that is the case, that doesn't make any sense. That's the first line in any statement in defense of this. Hey, a lot of that, so many million, pay back people from 5 years ago. That would be the first line of any excuse for anybody raising their eyebrows about this story. First line.
Well, I'm telling you.
Well, you need to talk to your party to do better.
Documented.
Nah, well, they didn't say it. We can't.
There were merchants. Okay. There were vendors who were not paid. That's
well.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's an easy excuse, and they could have done that. So we're not going to buy it. I mean, it might be true, but you lost an opportunity to say that? Come on. You buy that at all, Laverne? That would have been my first line. That might have been my second line. That could have been my first, second, and third line. Most of that was F&M stuff.
I do not, because typically, and this isn't just particular to this government, that's the lead-in. That's always the lead-in reasoning for anything. They always lead with, well, the previous government, such and such and such and such. That is always. And while he did mention all of the things that were left undone, did not do, were not in place under the previous administration, he never said that part.
That would have been, I mean, that's all you need to say. Most of that was because of that. And and we've been struggling for 5 years to pay that off. That's why some of these parks fell behind. Look how easy that would have been. So no.
If that was said, we would be still having this conversation. If that was said, if they said, listen, when we came into office, we met $45 million in outstanding payment.
Yep.
We would have been like, what? You know who we would have been talking about? We would have been talking about whomever the minister was last time. Right?
Yes.
We would have been saying we need to investigate further. We would have been, that would have been the topic.
Yeah. And use that as an excuse for not getting to all the other parks and stuff. We've been handicapped. We've been set back. It'll take us 2 to 3 years to catch ourselves, and then we begin our work. Maybe something like that. But
you know what's going to happen, right, Dwight? That'll be part of the reasoning.
You can't come with that now.
Speaks.
No, was it? No backseas. You what? You get no. You ready? That wasn't mentioned on your interview. That wasn't mentioned. It's not been mentioned for 4 years.
It may not come on Guardian, but somewhere on the campaign trail.
You've been trying to help people who couldn't find work any other way, and you gave them a contract. That's what you said.
They're going to hear that. They're coming with the numbers. Trust me.
And I mean, and I love our callers, but the stuff that, I don't know who's feeding you the stuff, but somebody's coming up with, oh, try this, and call in about that. You know, it's
Right.
going to be a very long couple of weeks before this election.
Listen,
This is going to be very.
it's
Oh
gonna
my
come
God.
up on the campaign trail. I
Oh,
promise you.
I can't.
You're
I
gonna
can't take it.
hear that. You're gonna hear it.
Tell them there was because of the SpaceX thing that caused, that sonic boom caused us to spend more than we wanted to. Oh yeah, try that one. Okay, sure. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, morning, Blair. What's up, man? Laverne, how you?
Okay.
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Hey, listen, no one, the PLP being beaten the F&M from when successor Wallace Whitfield was the leader of the F&M. If there was any kind of truth to what that caller just said, for 4.5 years they've been beating the F&M in the House of Assembly. That would have been the first thing, and the sad thing about this whole thing, right, is how flippant the chairman and the prime minister are being towards not just the Bahamian people, but towards the press. This is an example of how men is treated the people, and they continue on with this flippant attitude. It ain't none of your business. We spend the money, so what? Big deal.
Yeah. It's quite something.
Again, if the FM had left that money in place, wouldn't know about that they'd been campaigning on that. So, I mean, and I'm not talking from this election. I'm talking from the last election when they'd been saying the F&M did it. So tell the caller, go
We've
go
heard
back,
that. We would have heard
around
that
the
in
table
all the
and try again.
by-elections. We've heard that in both by-elections. We've heard that every single day. They say good morning. By the way, the F&M left us with right.
Exactly. Go
We
to
would've
a
heard
new
that.
point. Go to a new point, grab a new handful of mud and throw it against the wall. But that would ain't expect. All right, I think I'm going to continue to listen.
How could you forget that in all your statements? Nah.
That's a big miss.
No way.
That
I
is
mean,
a big miss.
again, it might be true, but let's not pretend. Let's not.
From now on, I promise you that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Wow. Caller,
Don't
good.
be surprised if we hear that, people. Don't be surprised if after today we hear that somewhere along all of this campaigning, we're gonna hear numbers. We're gonna hear someone say, "And did you know?"
Sure.
When we came into office,
That's hilarious.
the
Wow.
vendors had not been paid from parks and beaches.
Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning. You're live. Are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah, boy, Dwight, I ain't gonna lie, boy. They got a piece of road between East Street and the Blue Road, the back road in South Beach.
Okay.
That's the worst paved road. I talk about, they might leave the road the way it was.
Wow.
Whoever paved it got to be Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles on the machine and then, boy, I mean, awful. Take a ride out there one of these days.
Okay.
Unless that's the time they put down for you.
It could be. It could be.
No, but I know could because that car black and do. But that mean they even grade the road off on. Come take a look, right? Take a ride over there. Take a look at it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let me see if I can borrow one of the cars from Beaches and Parks. Since they have a whole fleet.
Exactly.
Again, who's using it? How many people do they have working there? Who's using? What do they do? If you have contracts with 1,200 people.
And so maybe that's where the money went, that you have you have contracts with people, but you also have employees.
Wow.
I don't know how it's
Because they
done.
moved into a new building. Obviously, they have employees. So what do they do? He mentioned inspectors, so maybe they do inspections.
Maybe they're the ones who go around and they see if the people who have the contract
Right, actually do anything.
are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Interesting.
Because isn't Guardian one of the inspectors? Because didn't you do a story about all of the parks?
That's hilarious.
So
Oh.
Guardian an inspector?
Yeah.
Are you guys also working for SLA?
We not employee of the year, I can tell you that one. But maybe. I wonder if can we get a contract? We go around and
Apparently you can. Apparently this is like Oprah. You get a contract and you get a contract.
everybody get a contract.
Everything with the contract.
Oh man. Well, I'm like, hey, so what do you do?
You know what? Somehow I suspect they don't want to come unless they're not being paid.
Well,
Yeah.
wow. Well, they're not like the F&M, so they're getting paid. Right, and the work is getting inspected. But when does it get inspected? That's another question we got to ask.
These things take time, right? This isn't easy. There's layers to this.
Yeah, especially if the roads aren't paved properly. It's very hard to get.
Okay.
Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air. Oh, okay. Let's take another call. Hi.
Morning, Dwight. Morning, Laverne.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just very quickly here. You see why the Bahamian people always talk about transparency and accountability? Half the stuff you see us discussing right now, had these things been freely flowing from these ministries to get we, the Bahamian people, to understand how our tax dollars are being spent, where it's being spent, how it's being spent. Half of this, we wouldn't even be having conversations about this. It got to a point where is a need to know or business to know. And with the amount of monies that it has allegedly that has gone into the highways and byways, a lot of Bahamians, we're just not buying this. With the amount of improprieties and the allegations of misappropriations and everything, it leaves a very bad taste in the mouth. Let me ask you this question. When you go around satisfied with the level of work that they say that they spend all this money on, do you see any true evidence that this level of money has been spent?
Obviously, there are challenges. Obviously, there are.
And then my second question to that is, even though you have the Ministry of Beaches and Parks, isn't that also in association with, let's say, for instance, another agency like the Ministry of Works or whatever? Wasn't there a division in the Ministry of Works that used to go around and take care of the parks and everything?
Well, not anymore, I guess. That's all.
Okay, now you get to understand where I'm going with this. So why is it that now we are dealing with persons, giving these persons contracts and stuff, when we have a whole entity that was responsible for all this, for taking care of our beaches and parks, taking care of the other, the other infrastructure that the public infrastructure that we used to deal with in the past? It seems as if we created the wheel. And the wheel it just wasn't no true necessity for it when we already had a division that was doing an excellent job back then.
Who are you talking about? Works?
You have a whole lot of workers just sitting around doing nothing all day, but they're being paid to do nothing.
You're saying Works was doing an excellent job?
Back then, they were doing an excellent job.
Which part of the country was this?
Say which part of the country?
I don't recall that.
There was a time when they used to be on the lawnmowers, cutting the grass and taking care of even the government facilities. They used to take care.
I think you're having a false memory. We have been challenged with this for a very long time. Remember when you? Thanks a lot, Jeff. This island in Grand Bahama, I'm sure Laverne will have a lot to say about this. But you know that we've had a challenge forever in terms of littering and garbage and just the verges. It's been like that from I was a kid. It's never worked properly. It's never. So I
wrote that down, Dwight. I wrote that
You're going to
down.
get back to that, right? After you get back from the news.
No. I wrote down false memory. Yeah. I love that term. You're having a false memory.
That has never been the case. Never been the case. Now, I will say that you do see more people out and about doing things in the last few years, but it's never been like, oh, this place is beautiful, immaculate. Never in the history of New Providence since I've been around. Can you say that? Let's go to the news. We'll be back. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:22, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. So we've got high pressure across the islands. That's going to continue to support moderate to fresh breezes and cooler temperatures, while a dissipating frontal boundary just south of Inagua will produce a few showers across the southern islands. So that front's going to continue to weaken and meander just south of the region, while weakening high pressure supports more stable conditions across most areas for the remainder of the work week. And evening, as a wet weather pattern settles across parts of the northwest, central, and southeast Bahamas due to low-level troughing along with deep tropical moisture moving in from the Gulf. So some improvement is expected by Saturday evening as the trough moves out of the area into the Atlantic. Ahead of that, though, for today, there is a moderate risk of rip currents along Atlantic beaches, as well as those in the southeast Bahamas. Beachgoers should exercise caution. So for today, for your forecast for the extreme northern Bahamas and the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds today, becoming partly cloudy tonight. Only about a 10 to 20% chance of showers today. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy with a 10 to 30% chance of showers. Slightly higher chances for rain in the southeastern islands. High temperatures today, the northern half of the country looking at highs in the mid to upper 70s, around 79 Fahrenheit perhaps, 26 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight in the upper 50s, low 60s for the extreme northern islands like Abaco and Grand Bahama. And for the rest of the northwest Bahamas, low to mid 60s tonight, about 17 to 19 Celsius. The rest of the country looking at high temperatures around 81, 82 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to the upper 60s, low 70s, between 19 and 22 Celsius. With your extended outlook for tomorrow, Friday, becoming mainly fair at night for the northern half of the country. Elsewhere, mostly cloudy tomorrow. Slightly elevated chances for rain in the northwest and central Bahamas, a 20 to 40% chance of widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Even higher chances for rain in the southeast Bahamas tomorrow, 40 to 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon for the southeastern islands. Saturday, partly sunny, becoming mostly fair at night for the extreme northern islands. The rest of the country looking at cloudier conditions, partly cloudy to cloudy, with cloud coverage decreasing by the afternoon hours. Still elevated chances for rain Friday for the central and southeast Bahamas, but that should begin to diminish by late afternoon Saturday. And when we come to Sunday, we're looking at, for most areas, a mix of sun and clouds, greatly reduced chance for rain. And that might hold into Monday as well. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Are you looking to paint? Well, your local Sherwin-Williams store has top quality paints, expert advice, and everyday discounts to help you save only at Sherwin-Williams. 8:26, time for traffic. A lot going on in your real-time traffic, folks. Got a number of hot spots for you. Milo Butler Highway, going to be heavy traffic from Fire Trail straight up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway, and even north of that area into New Providence Highway as you get closer to Sports Center Road and straight through to the six-legged roundabout. On the John F. Kennedy Drive at the six-legged roundabout, you're going to be seeing that slow-moving eastbound traffic as well this hour. Milo Butler Highway, there's heavy traffic for you on the Tonic Williams Darling Highway side. That's west and eastbound as you approach that roundabout with Milo Butler Highway. And then east of that area, slow-moving traffic for you on Tonic Williams Darling Highway towards roundabout with Bahamas Games Boulevard. Then we've also got some slow-moving but manageable traffic on Gladstone Road northbound. And if you're on the John F. Kennedy Drive westbound side near Theater, that's slow, heavy traffic for you at this hour. West Bay Street, issues at Arawak Key. Just east of that area, you'll see that heavy eastbound traffic heading into downtown Nassau. And west of that area on West Bay Street, still slow-moving traffic near Saunders Beach and the roundabout with New Providence Highway. Then we've got Independence Drive, heavy traffic both directions, especially eastbound right now. And Blue Hill Road and East Street, slow-moving northbound traffic. Eastern Road, not looking bad for you today, but just west of Fox Hill, you run into a few slow-moving cars near Johnson Road. Prince Charles Drive's got issues at the major intersections, especially once you get into Soldier Road heading westbound into Robinson Road straight up to Marathon. Old Trail northbound and Soldier Road northbound also seeing heavy, slow-moving traffic. That's Soldier Village, Wolf, and Bernard Road intersection looking busy for you. Traffic in multiple directions, but a lot of it is westbound right now. That's your real-time traffic and your morning led by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers, your partner for smart motor insurance and advice that puts you first. Whether you're at home or on the go, getting an instant motor quote is easy. Give them a call or visit your nearest branch or log in anytime at nuainsurance.com.
Foreign commercial banks have been closing across our islands. For thousands of Bahamians, our country's post office savings banks are a lifeline, providing safe and secure banking. But Michael Pintard says,
we will abolish the bank through the post office system.
That's a risk Bahamians can't afford. That's why the Prime Minister is making post office savings banks stronger to protect Bahamian families and small businesses who rely on them. Paid for by the PLP.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance. And just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us, because we've got you covered.
We do not choose to do work for recognition, but work that is worthy of recognition. We dare to find niche solutions to fill the voids within our communities.
CIBC Caribbean wants to reward the unsung heroes in our communities. Do you know someone who's been doing outstanding work in their community or performed an extraordinary act of heroism, bravery, or kindness in the last 12 months? Nominate a hero today. Go to CIBCCaribbean.com to learn more.
Has brand new chicken tenders, and they're everything you've been craving. Crispy, juicy, and seasoned just right. These tenders bring the flavor from the very first bite. Dip 'em, dunk 'em, love 'em. With sauces like sweet chili, scorching hot, ranch, honey barbecue, honey mustard, and Wendy's signature sauce. Grab them as a kid's meal. Enjoy them on their own, or make it a combo that hits the spot every time. For tenders you're gonna know by name, it's gotta be Wendy's.
5 years of PLP rule. Are you better off today? While you work, they've spent millions on taxpayer-funded trips, a government-funded luxury car, and handed out hundreds of millions in no-bid contracts. But for the rest of us, gas and groceries through the roof, VAT on bread basket items, healthcare that is broken, unaffordable, and out of reach. And it's not just your wallet. For 5 years, illegal immigrants have flooded our communities, putting excessive pressure on our schools, our housing, and our social services. As they flood in, Bahamian families fall behind. Under the F&M, there will be a change. The F&M has a plan to address the rising cost of living, secure our borders, protect Bahamians from illegal immigrants, and fix our health care. Job is to work for you and not the few. This message was paid for and authorized by the Free National
Don't shop
Movement.
at Sherwin-Williams then. Don't get the best service in the Bahamas then.
The love is really, really strong in Sherwin-Williams. We don't just sell paint. We service you with a smile, good hearts, mind, soul, and body. And we love our customers as much as we love ourselves.
Yes. Real talk.
I'm not just
Real talk.
to impress myself.
We love to go beyond with customer service. So they feel delighted to come in Sherwin-Williams because they know I can either see Dee Dee, or I can see Shelly, or one of our other wonderful staff members. We treat our customers with the respect of our boss because there are many paint companies they could choose to go to. No, baby. If they go to some other paint companies, so I gonna get this little thing at the end of the week.
We want to make sure you get that little ting, Shelley. Come visit Shelley and Dee Dee at Sherwin-Williams Bahamas, and you'll surely find color in every day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
There's no way we ever could. Now we see everything standing at a distance, so we keep waiting on the world to change.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll be talking with SBDC about their In Power Project initiative. We'll get details about that and a whole lot more from them in our business hour. But we continue talking about the news. We'll get to Pike in just a bit. As promised, we've got a few of your messages, Laverne. We've been talking about beaches and parks and beaches, whatever they're really called.
SLA.
SLA this morning. And some court matters, including this is a head scratcher, but a man jailed for death of baby had been initially given a 2-year suspended sentence, but the Court of Appeal overturned that and sentenced him to 2 years in prison. Death of a 3-month-old who is not his child. But this text here, this person says, Dwight, you don't have to read this, oh boy. But these women leaving their children in the care of boyfriends and those kids end up dead, that infuriates me. Your baby's only 3 months old and you already find the next man you trust enough to leave your infant with. We have to do better. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if it's easy. It's easy to blame the mothers and the right in these situations, but I don't know if that's fair. But it is easy to do it, and you really don't know if she felt she had no choice. But
Right.
but I did say it earlier. We have to be very careful, everybody. And I don't think this is just a Bahamian thing. It's not a Bahamian thing. This happens all over the world. But you really, I mean, come on, this guy. I'm not saying in this case, but often we know what happens. This person has kids and has never taken care of them one day in their life, but you're going to leave your baby with him. You know, that's kind of, or the person is so young. I don't know. I don't know the victims, but people have to make better choices. Wow. This texture says here, what are this back to jobs? You're talking about the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and some comments they've made about work and the hour lunch break. This texter says, what about jobs that only give you 15-minute breaks? Like, huh? Who's doing that?
Like for a morning break?
You only
Or
get a
they
15-minute break
mean-
for lunch?
That's
Whoa.
is that legal?
That's
Huh.
yeah, you got to check that out.
I suggest you check out the labor laws regarding that caller.
Yeah,
I don't know if that is,
you need to make a call.
yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know if that's necessarily legal. It should be done.
This texter says here, in good faith, I think the employer should pay for lunch. Most Bahamian companies get a lawyer to dance around old, archaic labor laws to squeeze everything from the employee. At that age, the car seat should be facing the rear of the car. Yeah, obviously the child wasn't and the car seat wasn't.
We don't even know if the child was in a car seat.
Well,
We don't.
yeah, we don't even know if it was really an accident.
Right.
Yeah.
That part.
Anything involving
I'm
the car
very
at all.
suspicious about that part.
Yeah. This person says here, my wife and I were on Eastern Road near Montague, headed to Shirley Street, where we observed a woman, the mother, I assumed, holding her daughter up while the child had her head out of the sunroof.
Okay, see?
While the child had her head out of the sunroof while the father drove. I remarked to my wife, it's okay until something happens.
Yes, that part.
The section says, Dwight, you're petty. What's the level
Hold on.
after slush? Aha! Because they called it a slush fund under the F&M administration and then spent $60 million more than was spent under the last administration. After slush, you know when it gets all black and...
No. Let's just leave it there.
No, you don't want...
describe.
What, there's a
No,
name for that.
Let's not go any further. Whatever the name is, we're not talking about.
Oh, boy. Beaches and parks.
We last week we already confirmed that we've accepted it. It is a slush fund.
Yeah. Well, they might need to add social or community in the word. Social, community, slush fund, maybe. I don't know. Because it seemed to be helping
I don't think
helping
that
people help themselves.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have a motto
Yeah,
now.
well,
This
that
is
one's borrowed.
progressing.
That's borrowed from I think the cooperatives, but don't sue me. But it seems to be appropriate. So this texter says that it is being used as a slush fund. Majority of those people who have contracts are working, and the island still looks nasty. Oh boy.
Oh wow.
Um,
See, and that's the thing, let me say this. I'm not saying it's right, but as a people, if money is being abused, but when you look, you say, "Oh my goodness, money's being abused." But these parks, they are something to behold, and in a good way.
yeah, exactly.
You kind of say to yourself, "Well,
Yeah, they overspent, but my goodness, these are some of the best
yeah, but
parks in the world.
look at the results."
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's overspending and you're looking at these parks and beaches and you're saying, this is a sight to behold.
Not in the good way.
Not in a good way.
Right.
That's where the problem comes in.
Yeah, exactly. This person says it doesn't matter what the chairman says about beaches and parks spending. All it is a slush fund to give their croonies contracts. My question is,
that's how you reward them.
My question in
That's how
all of this is, why are we still paying the people of the ministry or of this authority and employees who are already being paid by the government to do the same jobs as they are giving contracts for? Well, we don't know. We don't know if they're being paid to do the same thing. They might just all be
Right.
inspectors or manager of equipment. I don't know. But
What equipment though? Because it's
all
all
the stuff they got.
contracted out.
We don't know that either, but they got a
No,
fleet,
that's true.
a fleet of vehicles, lawnmowers,
Right.
riding lawnmowers. They got all kinds of stuff. Again, do the contract people have to sign it out like a library book?
And this is, parks and beaches all over the country. So maybe they have employees, in the different family islands, and so that's a part of.
What does local government do?
Well, I can't explain it. I'm just right
Well,
here
you
with
have an
I
island. You're on
think
an
you
island
can
where there
tell.
is local government. We can't
can
spell
tell.
local government here. Interesting, huh? Yeah. This person says, if order was brought under the PLPY, the overrun, shouldn't there have been a higher overrun under the unregulated FNM by the MP's logic? The reason why you would never see the documents to back up the MP's claims is because you would see who has the volume of the contracts. Okay. Well, I mean, so you don't think the 1,200 don't have each one? You think 1,200 have, some of them have multiple? Okay.
Maybe.
Well,
How else am I going to make good money?
This caller says that previous caller, the PLP caller, is wrong. There are vendors that aren't being paid now. Still, from that time, the minutes people? Okay. I know a lady who still has not been paid for cleaning tall pines from the last administration. So if they were paying old bills, she would have been in that number. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So now they've opened a can of worms, right? Coming here to spin. The people are crawling out and saying, what? Well, I didn't get paid. So what are you talking about? Eek, eek, eek.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's what happens. You gotta get huddle before
Gotta
you
make
start
sure.
speaking. Huddle and say things. What will be
And
the
perhaps-
ramifications if we say
And
this?
perhaps that is why the minister didn't say anything.
That's exactly why. That's exactly
He was
why.
like, so when he heard him this morning, he's like, oh, Lord.
He said,
I
no,
know
don't
he's
say
trying
that.
to help,
Don't say
but
that. Don't say that.
it.
Oh, no. Oh, boy. Wow. Okay, so lots of text messages about that. We got to move on really quickly. I just want to mention this really quickly. Before we get to Pike. So Prime Minister Davis, there were rallies, dueling rallies, but on different islands last night. So Prime Minister Davis, I think the FNM were on Andros. Is that right? And
Yes.
And the PLP
Yes,
were in
they
Abaco.
Mangrove Key, I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the PLP
Yes.
were in Abaco. Mr. Davis, during a rally on Abaco last night, said that his administration is serious about dealing with people who are living illegally in the Bahamas and building on Crown land. He said, quote, "You know I have a Minister of Works, a Minister of National Security who mean business. When we say Crown land is for Bahamians, we mean it. And people have come to learn if you build on Crown land without permission, we're going to knock it down. We'll knock it right down. Nobody's got to find a jump page, sorry. Nobody's where did it go? Nobody's playing. Oh, okay. Let me add to that. If we find that you were here without full documentation, we will deport you. If you don't think we're serious, you should ask the more than 13,000 people we've repatriated already, more than any government that came before us. Ask them. Which how do you do that? Just give them a call?
Oh, we have a contact for that?
Give them a call? Or,
ask them. I still have them all saved in my phone.
He said, go ask them. See one over there working at the fish fry? See one they're working with that landscaping.
Repatriate you?
See that one working with that landscaping company? See that one who's with the contractors? Yeah, go ask them. That's a joke, of course. But very interesting. So
we hope.
Yeah. We hope it's a joke, yes. Yeah. Okay, so let's get these calls and then we'll get to Pike. Really quickly, caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, Mr. Strachan, how you doing?
Doing well, good morning.
And welcome back.
Thank you.
Hope you got everything as though I know everything ain't okay, but it'll be done.
I appreciate it.
You know, Dwight, I've been listening to them talk about the parks and so forth. I've driven around the parks. I've been maintaining a park in Pride Estate, okay? And Dwight, if you ever come to Pride Estate, you will see a park maintained. When you enter the park, you'll see that the entrance sign, what was put there by Perry Christie and Mr. Whatever the guy Shane Gibson back in 2006 when I was the first person moved down here before there was even roads, water, or light. What I do in my park, right, I call it, every day it's called it Sparky Spark. It's in Pride Estate number 1. Every 15 feet, I went around the park, dug holes, and purchased trees from Rocky Farm, fruit trees, every 15 feet around the park. I maintain the park. I got 2 more trees I just purchased yesterday, a Barbadian cherry tree and a big mangola tree to put down this morning or tomorrow. I've been encouraging everybody who has a contract for these parks not to just pick up paper and cans and bottles and mow, but to plant fruit trees every 15 feet around the park. So next year, 2 years from now, when children want a dilly, a mango, a canap, whatever's in season, the children visitors could come to a park or they sit there and they could pick whatever in season. Most of these people just mow the lawn, pick up the papers, and pick up the bottles and take them away in a truck. Nobody's been doing that.
Right.
All along these highways and stuff like that, where they planting these palm trees would grow nothing that people can eat. They should be planting fruit trees. As when we were growing up, Dwight, you could be taken out with your parents to pick up cocoa plums, sea grapes, dillies, mangoes, anything you can eat. That's what we should be doing in these parks. That's what I do, Dwight. Every day, every week, I go around the park in Pride Estate. If I see a piece of paper, I pick it up. And every time I clean the park, the next day, some people go around and intentionally dirty up the park. You'll see, I clean it today, tomorrow when I go there, there's papers all over the park.
Sparky, Laverne has a question for you really quickly.
Yeah, Sparky, are you contracted to do this, or this is something that you do because this is where you live and you love it?
I've been given a contract. I live in Pride Estate, the first resident. And I didn't get it from an MP. The Prime Minister came to my 70th birthday and he said, Sparky, I see you love Pride Estate. If we should win, you will get the contract because I know you will keep that park clean. I have a contract for the park and I got a license signed every June to renew. And that's the demand of Sparky, and that's what I do.
Wow.
Have a good day. And everybody should keep these parks clean wherever you live.
Thank you, Sparky, for what you're doing.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Sparky, for doing what you are doing. It sounds like you were maybe doing that before you even got the contract, so kudos to you. And something that Sparky said, I just want to quickly say. Whether there are people contracted to clean the park or not, we have a responsibility to clean up after ourselves. We will go and say the park is dirty, but we're also the people who are guilty of leaving litter and everything around, even if there is a trash bin. So we also have a role to play.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that story? How it came to be? Are you comfortable?
I mean, and isn't that what happened? You know, you go to a birthday party, you go to a funeral, you go to a birthday party, and you
get a prize, you get a gift,
birthday.
you get a contract, you get citizenship,
you go to
you
a
get,
funeral,
you
get citizenship.
Just
this is hey.
Get a ride on a rocket. Who knows?
Hey, so I just
wow.
Part, you know,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. We love to give. We love to give here. Giving people. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there, caller?
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And good morning, Laverne.
Good morning.
Yes, I don't know if you guys could remember roads and parks, right? And Williamwood was before roads and parks, right? Before roads and parks, it used the Ministry of Works had a unit responsible for the wages, and then they used to be sometimes supervised. Helped with prisoners, right? But after 1992, and this helped us to understand the similarity with the PLP and the FLM, because after 1992, all of the they dismantled like all of the maintenance areas in Ministry of Works and Ministry of Education, right? And here and that's how we end up what we have now. Every year there's contract given out to schools, and every year is contract given out to keep the wages and the parks, right? And that's why all of us can agree that it is a national slush fund, right? Because it was purposely created to keep friends, family, and lovers, and now foreigners, right? And on the police, on the contract for the government, right? Because I don't know if you guys could remember on the beaches. Our beaches never used to be dirty, and you know why? Because they had a person assigned to that beach every day, right?
When was this?
So that it stays clean. But
when was that exactly? When the beaches were when was this? Was that when I was in school or something?
That was in. I don't know how old you are, right? But if you could remember in the 80s and in the early 90s, right? If you could remember that, right? Long Wharf and the whole western coast, right? They never had somebody there every morning cleaning and cleaning up the beach. But they purposely did what they did because why? It's more lucrative, as we could see, for the members of Parliament to benefit from these things rather than the actual thing was assigned to do. This ain't rocket science because I guarantee you could go inside these communities where these people had an increase in their salary or in their earnings, and you could see the deterioration of tax in their communities.
Okay,
right?
all right.
Money saying it just come out of the sky.
Right. All right. Thank you very much. A lot of people are agreeing with you. They're saying beach or park wardens. There used to be. I don't remember this much, but okay. I've always remembered.
Well,
Coca-Cola
so he's
cans
saying
everywhere.
that they've been they intentionally took it out of Ministry of Works, made it kind of its own standalone thing, and then you allocate resources for that, and here we are now saying it's a slush fund. Okay,
Remember that, and okay, that's great. I wish I could.
So Dwight, it's not a false memory.
Right. Was that the same situation with parks? I mean, you see, I could see them doing that for the beaches because who goes on the beaches more than anybody else. But I don't remember that with parks and the other roadways.
Well, he's saying it is. It was. So.
Okay. This person.
So maybe you're just not remembering.
That's it. Yes. This section says yes, the beaches used to be clean in 1492. Oh wow. Okay. Wow. All right, so we're gonna leave that there. Hopefully, we'll get some answers. Maybe another statement on what it is that the employees at Parks and beaches, what they do, beaches and parks,
Right.
and how the equipment works, right? Because I
Right.
think it would be a challenge if the people with the contracts have to use that equipment. That is defeating the purpose. No?
I don't know.
It just doesn't sound
Right?
right.
We don't quite understand how this works.
Mm.
And clearly, no one who is attached to that is going to call in and explain how it.
All right. Speaking
Other
of
than to
things,
say that the money is accounted for.
yeah. Speaking of things that we don't understand how it works, Pike, Bahamas Grid, Island Grid,
Perfectly
BPL, right? What's going on here? Our Candia Dame's writing about it today. Amid confusion that arose after an announcement this week that American Eric Pike is out as chairman of the company formed to modernize the electricity transmission and distribution system. The government saying on Wednesday that the ownership structure of the T&D network remains unchanged, presumably confirming that Pike's company still has majority ownership in the T&D assets. Pike's Bahamian subsidiary, Island Grid, is a majority shareholder in Bahamas Grid Company, which the Davis administration previously announced took ownership of the system from BPL. Now, Pike's exit surprised observers as the government had announced that it had a 25-year agreement with Pike Corporation, and Island Grid was in as T&D manager for the long haul. Under a joint venture partnership, the government announced in 2024 that it owns 40% of the shares in the special purpose vehicle known as Bahamas Grid Company, and that Island Grid Solutions owns 60%. The agreement, which the Davis administration finally made public in February, after growing demands for transparency, revealed that in consideration of its implementation of the upgrade of the T&D network and the ongoing management of the T&D system, Island Grid Solutions shall receive certain fees from Bahamas Grid Company, including a monthly management fee. The agreement did not contemplate Island Grid's early departure as T&D manager. It said that, in fact, that the first 5 years, commencing from the date of execution of the operative agreements, that management fee shall be an amount equal to 5.8% of the T&D system revenues. Thereafter, the management fee percentage shall be subject to reduction. So there are still questions, though, as to exactly why Island Grid is no longer the T&D manager, or if that is the case, so early in the agreement, and whether it is, in fact, currently owner of the assets. You following so far? Yeah?
No.
Oh, boy. Well, it's only going to get murkier.
I'm confused. It's very murky. I'm to break this down.
Oh,
for me.
I won't be
taking
able.
notes and trying to
I
keep
won't be able
track,
to do
but
that.
I'm lost.
No, well, I'm not
ahead.
going to. I'm not the one to help you. This person says
Oh,
there,
Lord.
Bahamas Grid. This is again continuing with the story. Bahamas Grid Company announced Pike's departure as chairman. This is Pike the man. Departure as chairman on Monday, and that there was a transition to an all Bahamian-led operating model. Now, pause right there. So again, BGC has been advertising for some time, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that they have one.
Yes. So again, they made the announcement.
Okay. It's transitioned to an all Bahamian leadership.
Mhm.
And that's really the only part, can I just say, that they want us to focus on.
I bet.
Continue.
I bet. Though the government's announcement on Wednesday appears to be saying that Pike's company remains the majority owner of T&D assets, a quote from Eric Pike in a statement from BGC on Monday suggested that he's severed ties with the company. Pike said, quote, this is again Eric Pike, he said, quote, we are honored to have had the opportunity to set up BGC and conduct the biggest grid upgrade project for New Providence over the past 2 years. I would like to recognize the dedicated employees of IGS, as Island Grid, right? Pike and BGC, whose hard work and commitment were instrumental to this achievement, and extend our best wishes for continued success. So that's raised questions over whether there has been a change in the announced ownership structure. BGC said on Monday that the leadership transition follows the conclusion of Island Grid Solutions' management role on April 20th, 2026.
Okay.
And the stepping down of Pike and May Shibata from their positions at BGC.
Okay.
Dario McKenzie has been announced as BGC's chief executive officer, and Gladys Fernanda was announced as the chief financial officer.
Okay.
BGC chairman Anthony Ferguson said in that statement on Monday, quote, "We now move forward as a fully Bahamian-led organization focused on delivering long-term performance for our country, our children, and our grandchildren." On Wednesday, the government said the transition to full Bahamian leadership is a good and encouraging step for our country. That was what the government said.
Right.
Saying, quote, "It reflects the depth of Bahamian talent in the energy and utility sector, and it should give the public confidence that capable Bahamian professionals are leading this work forward."
Yes.
Pike has served as a contractor on foundational grid works and remains engaged in country to complete that scope of work. According to those foundational works are expected to be completed by the end of May and include a 132 kilowatt, or is it kilovolt? Switching station at Clifton Pier and the reconductoring of the Clifton Pier to Big Pond. A new transmission line between Blue Hills and Big Pond substations, upgrades at Big Pond substation, protection upgrades at Blue Hills and Skyline substations, and the installation of interrupters. The government said, quote, "The foundational grid upgrade project is already producing tangible benefits for New Providence's electricity network, with outages cut nearly in half and system reliability and resilience significantly improved. The public should also be assured that the ownership structure of the transmission and distribution assets remains unchanged." So saying it outright, the public should also be assured that the ownership structure of the transmission and distribution assets remains unchanged. The only change at this stage is the move to a fully Bahamian-led operating team after the completion of the foundational phase. That is a transition the government welcomes. We have full confidence in the Bahamian leadership now in place at Bahamas Grid Company. The work to strengthen and modernize the grid continues, and the government remains focused on ensuring that the people of New Providence see the benefit of a stronger, more reliable electricity network. All right, so again, there's some things missing because we knew that Pike was looking for the way how it was written, if you saw any of the ads, it looked like they were looking for a Bahamian to be the CEO.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right? So, fine. The challenge is, while all of this is happening, the Pike people left. And they didn't leave because they finished their work. They left because one of their own was shot by an off-duty police officer. And they apparently, in a revolt, all decided to leave. The work, is it true that they are, and that's what they're saying, recruiting other people to come down to the killing fields to work here, right? How is that going? Are they getting these folks? Where does that stand? All of this is happening at the same time, and so it all looks very confusing and murky. But
Right.
What's what?
And we're going to tie all of it in together. And here's the other thing, Dwight.
And maybe
this
we should
may have
not.
Always, right. And maybe we shouldn't. This may have always been the plan, that after time, we would transition into a full Bahamian leadership team. This may have always been the plan. But refresh my memory. Did we ever get the full terms of the deal?
Yes, you remember we got that, how many pages was it? And we got quite a few after we were told we were lazy and didn't want to read it. And
want to go and look. So
Right.
maybe in those pages, this was a part of it.
Oh, boy. Okay.
That this would always happen,
Yeah.
right?
Again, they were looking for a CEO. They announced it a long time ago, and when I did reach out to them to see if we can get them on the show, because remember the Minister of Energy kept telling us, talk to BGC. They're fully capable of explaining things to you. You don't need to hear from me. But that wasn't the case because BGC said they weren't talking, at least for a few months.
Right.
Perhaps
Right.
because all of this was going on with the
Going
leadership
on.
changes. But the issue with the Pike workers leaving at the same time this is going on is what's probably the most.
Probably with this happen, it murkied the water.
Mhm.
And we're saying is, so now for us, for people, just regular people looking at it, you're thinking, okay, Pike is gone completely.
Mm.
The workers are gone. The CEO is gone, or whatever the position is, they're all gone. So Pike is left.
Right.
That's what you're thinking.
But yeah, it's not necessarily what's really going on here. All right. Well, hopefully they hear us, and we'll try to clear that up. Like, this is not related to that, and there's no reason to be concerned. That is another issue, and we're working to bring in more Pike workers. Is that a good thing? Does the government feel that's a good thing? Are there no people?
Apparently they do.
No people at BPL who could do that work? I don't know.
Apparently not.
Wow. We'll take one call really quickly. We've got to move to news. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Dwight and co-host.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question. I saw you spoke about the Michael Barnaby situation with beaches and parks, right? So only with the whole interview, was he then even came prepared with no financial reporting from the end of year for 2021 to 2025 or 26? And I just didn't understand how could he communicate about a financial position of a entity without providing the actual reporting for expenses and revenues and how I guess how things were spent. And it's so weird because when you want funds in this country, whether it's from government or it's from private entities, they ask you for a financial report, they ask you for a business plan, they ask you for your financials.
Yeah.
They want to see your receipts, they want to see your breakdown, they want to see everything put into some spreadsheets. I just didn't understand what level of professionalism that Mr. Barnaby came with.
Well, sadly, that is the MO for a lot of these folks. They won't provide it. It's very difficult. It's very sad.
Just trust them.
Apparently.
Trust them, and they said it's accounted for.
Apparently, yeah. But we all share your concerns. Thank you so much for the call. We need to see proof. Go to news headlines. When we come back, we're talking with SBDC. Always a great conversation there. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us, please.
What you get is what you got. 'Cause when they own the information, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
At Star General, you can go gold. Comprehensive car insurance covers loss or damage from accidents, fire, theft, and third-party liability. But the Gold package gives you increased coverage for rental car and windscreen, personal accident, medical benefits, deductible waiver, and 24-hour roadside assistance wherever. Our Star General Gold package also gives you up to $2,500 for accidental damage to a rental car anywhere in the Bahamas. Go gold with Star General. Insurance made simple.
This is the National Youth Guard program designed for young people to help the Bahama Islands in times of disaster.
I decided to join to better serve my country as well as to better myself.
We train the help in search and rescue,
electrical, plumbing, and carpentry.
And things that they can actually expand on in their careers.
Young people who join the Youth Guard identity, a sense of purpose, and a sense of patriotism.
This program isn't about only the individuals. It is about the country.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner, and it is time for a monthly series every fourth Thursday each month in Morning Blend Business. We talk with the Small Business Development Center, and this morning we are talking with Richard Ritchie, who is the Director of External Relations. Great to have you with us. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
All right, so we're going to talk about a number of things, but especially the Empower Project Initiative.
Yeah.
Right?
So
what is that about?
Yeah, it's one of our most recent projects that we launched. It was specifically for inner city communities.
Okay.
And so we looked at 8 inner city communities, including Fox Hill, Marathon, Centerville. We looked at St. Barnabas, Ingliston, Freetown. There were 8 in total. And what this was designed to do was to help persons, business persons, aspiring or existing business persons to start or grow their businesses. And so the project was designed to not only help residents of those inner city communities, but also businesses in those inner city communities. Because when you start and grow businesses in those communities start to flourish. Mm-hmm. And so that was the idea behind the Empower project, specifically for inner cities, giving them a help up and the resources that they need to really grow and scale their businesses.
All right, so Richard, explain to us what made city communities unique. Why would they need a special hand up? What are their unique characteristics?
So let me preface my response by saying that we design programs across a spectrum of areas. From the green and blue and orange economies to businesses focusing on tech, to businesses that are focusing on the creative and cultural sectors. We have women-focused initiatives. We just had our Men in Business focus initiative, and we have done the Young Entrepreneurs Initiative about 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. And so we always create special programs because every demographic, every aspect of society has their own unique challenges. Wow. And so we try to design programs around that. Mm-hmm. So it's not to say that the inner city is more special than any other area within the Bahamas, but it's to say that we recognize some of the challenges. So when we talk about programming, it's not just the funding aspect, because I know that's the hot topic, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone likes to talk about the funding. But when we look at the support that inner cities needed, we designed a program where, identifying those challenges, we created a program that was specific and dedicated to supporting their needs. Right. So it's not that they're more special, but their needs and the support that they need is different, perhaps, from some of the other demographics that we work with.
All right, so tell us about some of those. What would be some of those challenges?
So some of the challenges that inner city communities face is definitely the digital divide. Mm-hmm. And so usually we would have our training program fully virtual, right? It would be online, it would be self-paced. What we realized in designing the program was that we needed to create a more accessible training program. Mm-hmm. So what we did was we made it accessible by going into the inner city. So we had training sessions in person at RM Bailey and Edmund Moxie. So persons that had device challenges, for example, right? Even though people think anything can be done on a cell phone, sometimes it's it's disoriented. It doesn't always work as best as possible, and then you get a phone call and then you get knocked out, right?
Right.
And so what we did was we decided to have this in person in the inner city where you can walk out of your front door right into the training and access the training. What we also did was we translated and transformed our business blueprint training into something that was more tangible, into something that was more relatable in terms of some of the business challenges that inner city persons might face. Mm-hmm. And so we didn't make it overly technical. We did not make it something that was difficult to understand. What we did was we broke that down into very practical steps that inner city persons who may not have went to Harvard Business School can understand and still run a business in the community.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wow. All right, so tell us more about how it worked and the process and how many took part in it.
Yeah, so our process for our programs are pretty standard. We have a public application process. I did to apply. We always publish on our website and social media pages all of the criteria. And once you would have applied within the window and you would have met all of the criteria, we usually begin our programs with training. And you might ask, well, why? Well, what we like to get people to understand is that the Small Business Development Center, SBDC Bahamas, is not a place where you push a card in an ATM and funds come out, right? A lot of persons like to jump into businesses, and that's why, for the most part, especially in inner city communities, we have more side hustles and background businesses than sustainable businesses, right? And that's not to be derogatory, right? When I say that, what I mean is we have persons with talent. We have persons with skills. However, they are not able to scale and sustain those businesses. And so that is why we always begin with training. And our training covers a wide spectrum of topics, right? We have where we assist you in taking your idea and forming that into a business, or your skill set, whether it's washing cars, whether it's landscaping, whether it's being a nail tech or a barber. You might be doing that on the side. However, we can show you inroads. We can show you exactly how you can, take advantage of the market that's available to you and really scale up that business. How do you upsell? How do you add on services? So that during certain periods, if one thing isn't working, something else can work. So that's where we start. And what we have realized is that training really helps the business to be more sustainable, because it's not where you just get funding and you're just trying to flip an item, but it's where you have the knowledge needed to sustain. So we have the application, we have training, and then professionals, accountings, experienced business persons, consultants who would review your documents, and usually the documents would be an executive summary, sometimes a business plan. It would be invoices to demonstrate what it is you want to use the funding for, what services you need to acquire, what inventory or stock or machinery you need to acquire that would scale up the business, and you would need to demonstrate exactly what the purpose of those items would be. And once you submit those and the panel reviews it, you would be approved, or we would refer you to accessing some of our additional advisory services, so that you can maybe in the next program have an opportunity. But we have two sections. We provide grant funding in some instances, and then of course we have our flagship guaranteed loan program, right? And that program itself has a bit of a different process. But the Empower Project was a grant program, but that does not limit persons from moving forward and advancing and trying to scale up their business to get in our guaranteed loan program.
Oh, so give us the dates when this happened and when you're gonna do it again.
So the Empower Project, we'll see when we put it back on the rotation. So all of our programs are basically on rotation. We listen to the market, we listen to what's happening in the country, we listen to where the needs are. And the needs are immense, right? We can run 100 programs easily if we had the resources. However, we try to be focused and be intent. So the Empower Project is actually wrapping up. We're getting ready soon in a few weeks to make grand announcements and let the public know exactly who was successful in their venture. But we're pleased about the program, and I always try to get people to understand that it's not just the end where you get this grant funding, but we would have had hundreds of persons who would have benefited from the training. So even if you don't get the grant, that's training opportunities, that's insight, that's information that you got from firsthand from an expert. And experts, and then we would have had our Fix Your Business license drive, right? And we got so much good feedback about that event from all of our partners, as well as from the public, because what we did was we brought all of the entities required to get a business license in one place.
Right.
We put everyone in one place, and you were able to go to the different agencies. You were able to, walk through the process step by step. You didn't need to send 10 emails or visit 10 places. Everyone was in one place. Yeah. And that's something that I've always said that we need. I don't know if we can find a facility where each one of those agencies have an office, but
one-stop shop.
A one-stop shop we were able to do, and persons were able to benefit outside of the grant funding.
Yeah.
The grant funding is good, but and sometimes it's an opportunity for you to take inventory, reset, reposition, realign once you would have gotten that training and information, and then try again.
So it started when this was.
So the Empower Project was launched earlier this year in February, and from there to now is how we've moved through the different phases of the program. So again, from grant funding, from training into the Fix Your Business drive, of course, providing support and gathering the necessary documentation, and now we're at the adjudication phase.
Yeah.
And so soon we'll be making those announcements.
So people stuck with
Good
it?
morning, Dwight. Hi, Dwight. I have a question.
Yeah.
You know what my question is? Because we have inner city in Grand Bahama, and I know you said it's on rotation. So is Grand Bahama on that rotation? Is that something that you're considering for Grand Bahama?
Thank you for asking the question. I want you to stay.
Absolutely.
I want you to stay tuned. We have something for Grand Bahama coming soon. I want you to stay tuned. Stay tuned on our website,
I will.
spdcbahamas.com, and on our social media, SPDC Bahamas. Trust me, something is coming soon for Grand Bahama.
So you notice that people stuck with the program, or like how many did you start with and how many did you end with?
Yeah, so in total, we had over 400 participants in the training, right? And so those persons, again, even if they didn't make it to the end with the grant funding, they would have benefited from that training.
Right.
After the training, we saw where some persons may have had difficulty with gathering some of the documents, right? And this is typical. We try not to prolong the program because we do it in cohorts, and so we don't want a handful of persons to hold back other persons, and so oftentimes if we are unable to get them to the finish line, we always continue to engage them. We keep them in our marketing campaign listing, and we continue to provide them with support. And so at the end of it, after the training, the business license drive was actually open to the public, and now I would say that 95% of the persons made it to the end. So the training is actually different.
It's pretty good.
But in terms of everyone who would have submitted a grant application, we had about a 95% success rate, and that is primarily due to the level of support that we provide. So we don't just send you out there and say hey, you have to do this, and if you don't do it, well, too bad. We have a dedicated team of professionals at SPDC Bahamas, hands-on support to persons, and so we're proud of that.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty good. All right, so you mentioned challenges. You talked about digital, but for a lot of these businesses, they function in a cash-only space, and that might be limiting some of their success, their business. What would you say to companies, inner-city companies that have maintained the cash status quo and don't want to get into technology in that way?
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone has the ability to decide how they want to manage their finances in their business, right? We always, of course, encourage persons that, digital has its advantages. We always encourage persons to accept a, spectrum of payments, cash as well as digital payments. But, truthfully, we have businesses that have been around longer than some of these inner city businesses and that are larger and make more revenue.
Still thriving.
And they still take cash.
Yeah.
Been around for maybe 30 years. And in the past 2 years, they've just started to accept credit card payments, right?
Yeah.
So I think it really has to do with cash flow. It really has to do with turnover. It really has to do with how readily do you need that cash. A lot of inner city businesses, they're thriving, they're doing well, but they don't have, a lot of employees. When we talk about micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, we're talking about 50 or less employees. So if you have a small business in an inner city, and when we look at what the makeup of those businesses are, we're talking about your mom and pop shops, right? We're talking about your breakfast stands, right? We're talking about your car wash stalls. We're talking about your barbers. We're talking about those services in the inner city that, usually have, less than 5 employees on rotation. Right. They're able to make ends meet. They're able to pay expenses. They're able to earn a little bit of revenue. But, the turnover in terms of cash and needing that cash on hand, sometimes that need is there. So it all depends on business operations. Some persons don't have time to wait on, the funds to settle in the bank after a credit card payment or transaction. Some persons fear the transaction fees. And some persons just, have a very conservative model of how they run their business. But we always, of course, encourage a spectrum of payment options. Insofar as the SPDC Bahamas actually has a e-commerce platform called Tingsy.
Right.
All right. And so SPDC's e-commerce platform where businesses across the Bahamas are able to get online, advertise their products, make sales online, create bookings online, and accept digital payments. And so that is something, of course, again, it's a part of the work that we do at SPDC Bahamas, trying to encourage persons to, broaden their horizons. But again, it all depends on that business model.
Well, like you said, a lot of them have been around for long before we got here and are still thriving.
Yeah.
And people will do what they have to do in order to interact with that company. So Right. All right. So I'm curious. What were some of the sectors that you saw in this cohort? What type of fields are they in?
Yeah, so with the Empower project, and across all of our programs, we always get a very diverse grouping of businesses. So we had in the beauty sector, of course, we had in transportation, persons interested in car rentals. We also had some businesses dealing with landscaping. We had some persons in the fishing industry. So I mean, for the most part, I would say that food and beverage is usually, one of the highest areas. A lot of persons are in the food and beverage industry, especially in the inner city community. And so it was a wide spectrum, but it's the typical businesses that you see and find in the inner city communities. But the food and beverage ones, they really came out on top once again. But in all of it, we encourage persons. Again, not just existing businesses, but even startups. And so we actually had a number of interesting startups, focusing on technology, focusing on applications in the e-commerce space as well. So in terms of the Empower project, we like the fact that persons came forward. We like the fact that, they weren't hesitant about the type of business they had, how their business was doing. We like the fact that they came forward and that they were able to, receive the support that they needed to grow these businesses. And so with the Empower project, in a few weeks again, when we make this announcement, we will be revealing exactly what kind of businesses they were and what inner city constituencies they were in.
Excellent. Caller, before we get to you, Emil, what was the breakdown? What are you noticing there?
Yeah, so actually over the past few years, we have actually seen the numbers shift slightly toward more female businesses. And this isn't, again, just the Empower project, but this is actually across all of our programs. So we're actually seeing about a 51% shift in terms of the number of females who are applying in our programs. And so it's usually around 50% between females and males. However, we're seeing just a slight shift across all of our programs over the years toward more female business persons.
Wow. We're talking with Richard Ritchie with SBDC. He's the Director of External Relations. Let's take this call quickly. We've got a couple of text messages. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well.
Great. Thank you so much for the information from Mr. Ritchie. I have a question. I had been a part of the SBDC program some years back, and hearing what is happening now is good. But when you think of, and I heard about how so many contracts was given out, no big contracts. How does one go to the program and not have an opportunity to even get one of those contracts when it's a no bid contract?
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think that's a question for SBDC. That's something totally different. I don't know, Rashad, if you want to say that different topic.
Yeah, I mean, it is a different topic. So, SBDC has no involvement in government contracts at all. So I don't even think that is something for SPDC Bahamas. But, I'm happy to know that you are familiar with SPDC. I'm happy to know that you have been involved. And, I don't know exactly where you are in your business and entrepreneurial journey. But, I would encourage you to reach out. I would encourage you to speak with some of our professional business advisors and, and get involved, and be a part of the change that we're doing in terms of the small business sector in the Bahamas.
So it's an interesting call. It's nothing to do with you all, but I mean, do you hear frustration from people? Like, it doesn't matter what I do, I could do all the training in the world, but as long as that guy over there knows the MP or he knows the Prime Minister and he gets all the stuff no matter what, and there's nothing I could do that will cause me to ever get to that level.
Yeah, what I would say to persons is, there are a lot of businesses that, are not involved in getting government contracts and they do quite well. I think that is a cultural thing. I think it is something that, Bahamians think it's easier to do. But entrepreneurship isn't easy. And if you're in entrepreneurship just to, shake hands and get a contract. Well, I would say entrepreneurship may not be for you. At least the kind of
Right, you gotta call it something
that
else.
we're trying to do. Yeah, you gotta call it something else. But what we're trying to do is build sustainable businesses. We're trying to build businesses that transform the Bahamas. This is just to get a contract, right? We're trying to build businesses that can truly transform the Bahamas. When we look at the impact at SPDC, our impact goes beyond numbers. It goes beyond contracts. We're talking about businesses, especially in the Family Islands, who we would have supported. We're talking about businesses who are able to provide services in those family islands that have never existed before. Services that the community needs. We're talking about education. We're talking about healthcare. We have healthcare facilities that would have benefited from SPDC program to provide additional healthcare services in some of the family islands. We're talking about fishing and farming. We're talking about transportation, right? We have shipping companies, boating companies that have went into the transportation sector as well as into the tourism sector. So these businesses are not focused on government contracts. I mean, to think in that way, it diminishes the transformation that SPDC is really doing, and the transformation that the businesses that we work with and support are doing in communities throughout the Bahamas. Right. And so we're about sustainability. We're about building businesses that transform lives. We're talking about building businesses that transform the Bahamas. A lot of the transformation that we have seen in the business community, especially when we look at startups, right? Startups that are, diving into AI, that are diving into tech, that are diving into manufacturing, right? We see increase in manufacturing. We have a significant portion of our applications that are interested in going into manufacturing. We talk about food sustainability. We're talking about decreasing the import bill. The only way we do that is if we increase our manufacturing capability locally. And we have SPDC to do that. I think the work of SPDC goes beyond, government contracts, and it definitely goes beyond the numbers. It goes toward the impact that we're seeing in the economy and the transformation that we're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you said earlier we're going to hear soon about the grants and who's going to get some of the stuff. But you mentioned that In Power is on a rotation. Any idea when that would be? If people are interested in being a part of the next cohort, what should they be doing?
Yeah, so what I would say is, we can't give a definite timeline because, again, we're listening to the community, we're looking at the market, we're seeing what is needed. We do have something in the blue economy coming up soon, so listen out for that.
Remind folks what the blue economy is.
So the blue economy is the aspect of the overall economy that deals with, oceans. It deals with water-based businesses.
Yeah.
And of course, some of the offset businesses related to those industries and sectors. It deals with the ocean economy, right? So we're talking about fishing. Interestingly enough, I see a young Bahamian who's doing good work with underwater filming, Andre Musgrove. And so that's also in the blue economy, but it ties into the creative and film industry, right? Something, if I'm not mistaken, for Netflix recently. For a movie that they did. And so we're talking about listening to what the needs are in the community. We're trying to accommodate as many sectors as possible because, again, each sector needs something different. So when we look at the blue economy, what does the blue economy need? It needs information, right? So we're talking about knowledge production. And we're working with industry experts to create that knowledge that's focused on the blue economy. So what are those value chains within the blue economy? In terms of your business, you have a product, right? You have a business, but how do you get that to market? How do you identify the persons and businesses who are interested in that product or service? Right. So we're talking about teaching value chain specific to the blue economy. So of course, the training for that would look different from In Power or any other program that we have. It's specific, it's dedicated, it's looking at, how do you monetize your service and product in the blue economy? We're talking about monetization in the creative industry now. That's our topic in the Bahamas. And so,
all the sessions will take place on the beach. No,
well, that would be lovely.
That would be great.
That would be great if the weather if the weather permits. But what we're doing now is designing, and again, our programs have a research and development phase where we design programs specific to the sector. And so we're doing that, and then we go into implementation. So right now we're, designing something for the blue economy, and then we will launch that accelerator program where we support blue economy businesses. And that, of course, to your co-host will also, be across Family Islands as well. Wonderful. And so again, Grand Bahama, be on the lookout. But in terms of In Power and when that may be coming back, again, we look and see what the needs are. We also give time for our programs that have just completed, to kind of develop some results, right? So we want to go back and we want to do surveys. We want to see what the value of the dollars invested in those businesses look like after the program. So it gives us some time to, get some results that we can measure to determine if the need is there, if we need to, redesign the Empower project or any of our other programs. And so we don't just, wake up and say, well, I want to do this program or, let's do this program again. Let's see what results we got from the previous program before we do that again. So it's being responsible with our mandate. It's being research and data driven, and it's listening to the market and to the public, but it's also trying to reach new areas, right? And trying to make inroads in new areas. It's trying to develop new areas. We know the ocean economy, the blue economy is a significant percentage of family island economies, right? And so we want, again, to be holistic, but we also want to be balanced in what we do and what we offer.
Excellent. So you got to stay tuned. You got to pay attention to everything SPDC says.
SPDC is always up to something.
So let people know how to do that, how to best keep in the know with what's going on there.
So I think we do a pretty good job at, keeping the public informed, I must say. Our marketing and communications team, shout out to them. Let me know where I can get the recording so I can play it in the office when I get back. But SPDC Bahamas, that's our that is our handle on all of our social media platforms. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's SPDC Bahamas. We have a web, spdcbahamas.com, where you can get all the latest impact statistics. You can get what we're doing. You can, follow us. And we do quite a bit of community events as well. Right now, we are at IRCA and their ICT, their Girls in ICT event that's happening Paradise Island. And so we are in the community as well. We're not just in offices. We're not just on social media, but we're also in the community. And so whenever we, are at an event, that's also an opportunity for persons to come and talk with us and find out what is it that we're doing and what we have in the pipeline. We were at Central Bank's financial literacy event on Monday. And so, engaging with high school students, letting them know that there is an option for you to, leave high school and become an entrepreneur, right? If that's the route that you want to take, and that there's an organization that is committed and dedicated to supporting you in that goal that you may have. And so, SPDC Bahamas across all of our social media platforms. I think our search engine optimization works pretty well. If you type in small C on Google, you will find SPDC Bahamas.
And you got a WhatsApp channel now?
We have a WhatsApp channel now. So it's even easier to get information. Just about everyone is on WhatsApp. You get a quick notification, it directs you to all of the details and other information that you may need. And so I would encourage people to follow, right? Don't just wait. Persons always ask me, well, how am I supposed to know? I heard you guys had a program. I said, yeah, well, y'all ain't tell me. I said, well, give me a number so next time I can tell you.
Right.
But, we try to get the information out as wide as possible. And, SPDC has business advisors on every family island. Well, just about every family island. And the family islands that we don't have a physical presence, they're grouped. So there's an advisor that's, for a particular family island. And you can find that information on our social media pages as well. And so we have meetings where the public can come and speak with a business advisor and get advice. They can, be assisted in walking through the process of any of our programs, grant programs, or our guaranteed loan program. And, what they're able to do is, not just see the information in a flyer format, but get detailed hands-on information, and be able to be walked through the process step by step.
Yeah. And I missed one, but there'll be something else that could work for you.
We're always up to something at the SPD. Something is always cooking in our innovation and programs section. And in the external relations department, we do good work at SPDC. We work together as a team, and we're always looking to make impact. So we're always thinking about new ideas. We're always coming up, again, listening to what some of the needs are. We're looking at new trends. We're looking at emerging trends. We're looking at things that persons want to get into, but they don't quite know how. And so we do a lot of that research again and design programs around that, to provide information to businesses.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Rashard Ritchie, thank you so much for being here this morning. Again, he's the SPDC Director of External Relations and the Empower Project. We look forward to hearing the folks who get some grants and other stuff from this program in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a good chat this morning. Thank you for having me. And, the work at SPDC goes beyond the numbers. And so it's about that community transformation. And I'm happy to be a part of the team that gets to make that transformation in the Bahamian economy.
Excellent stuff. Keep up the great work that you're doing and that everybody's doing at SPDC. Appreciate you this morning. All right, we got to take a break. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
On Angie, how does it feel to have broken the bull riding world record?
Sore, Sean. That bull was angry.
Angie, I think that bull is headed towards your red convertible.
I broke the world record and he broke my car. Oh well, at least I've got CG Comprehensive Motor to cover this.
Get covered for collision, damage, and more. CG Atlantic Agents and Brokers. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solution and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
CFAL is a proud sponsor of Bahamas for the 2026 Carifta Games.
Foreign commercial banks have been closing across our islands. For thousands of Bahamians, our country's post office savings banks are a lifeline, providing safe and secure banking. But Michael Pintard says,
we will abolish the bank through the post office system.
That's a risk Bahamians can't afford. That's why the Prime Minister is making post office savings banks stronger to protect Bahamian families and small businesses who rely on them. Paid for by the PLP.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 3976.
Looking for the perfect venue to inspire, celebrate, and connect? Welcome to Clifton Heritage National Park, one of the most unique event destinations in the Bahamas. Planning a wedding, birthday, or concert? Our breathtaking backdrops, whether it's Johnston Beach, Turtle Pen, or the historic ruins, transform every event into something unforgettable. For creators, Clifton is a dream. From photo shoots to film productions, every corner of the park offers stunning visuals, natural, historic, and truly Bahamian. And sometimes it's simply about slowing down. Treat your team, your family, or yourself to a beach day reset. Soft sands, calm waters, shaded spots, and a beach bar ready to serve. At Clifton Heritage National Park, your event becomes more than a gathering. It becomes a memory. Celebrate with us, create with us, reset with us. Clifton Heritage National Park, your destination for unforgettable experiences. Come and see Clifton Heritage.
Struggling to find your financial rhythm? Make that move to Fidelity and let us help you orchestrate your financial goals into perfect harmony with free financial coaching sessions. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
North Andros, it's your time. The F&M Fire Forward Rally is coming to North Andros. We're coming to F&M headquarters on Queens Highway, Thursday, April 23rd at 8 p.m. Come here from Carlton Voleg, Sir Fent Road, Dr. Nicholas Fox, Vandia Stewart, your candidate, Janice Oliver, and our next Prime Minister, Michael Pintard. North Andros, come and hear how the F&M will work for you. 8 p.m.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app. Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. SunCash now has over 100,000 wallet users for the Bahamian digital currency Sand Dollar, with a kiosk to service customers on every major island in the country. That's according to SunCash's business development manager, Sean Smith, speaking to Guardian Business yesterday, saying the company is prepared for the central bank's implementation of its fast payment system set to come on stream in the first quarter of 2027. Smith says that the firm contracted by the central bank to create the system will build on the payment system SunCash has already implemented through its own network. Introduction of the fast payment system will only allow for money transfer transactions to happen immediately. More on that in today's Guardian Business section. Financing, project management, and consulting firm Rock Island Financial Management Limited has announced a proposed $180 million investment for North Andros that will feature agricultural, renewable energy, and biotechnology initiatives. The company's principals and partners hope will address national challenges related to health, farming, and energy. The initiatives were revealed by Rock Island Financial CEO and Chairman Preston Drummond during a community event over the weekend at Coral Harbor Community Park. Drummond explained that the investment will include a pipeline of developments combining modern farming technology and renewable energy and health innovation. More on that in today's Guardian Business section. Overseas, U.S. President Donald Trump, his acting attorney general, today signing a licensed medical marijuana as a less dangerous drug, a major policy shift long sought by advocates who said cannabis should never have been treated like heroin by the federal government. The order, signed by Todd Blanche, does not legalize marijuana for medical or recreational use under federal law, but it does change the way it's regulated, shifting licensed medical marijuana from Schedule 1, reserved for drugs without medical use and with high potential for abuse. It changes it now to a less strictly regulated Schedule 3. It also gives licensed medical marijuana operators a major tax break and eases some barriers to researching cannabis. The Trump administration said it was jump-starting the process for reclassifying marijuana more broadly, setting a hearing to begin in late January. And it might be hard to imagine the Iran war weighing on stuffed toys, but even plush playthings are not immune when oil shipments from the Middle East are constrained. Like many soft toys, the creatures developed by toy manufacturers are made with polyester and acrylic, synthetic fibers derived from petroleum. So 3 weeks after the war started, suppliers in China notified these companies that getting their materials was costing them $10,000 to $15,000 more. It's not just toys. Petrochemicals derived from oil and natural gas go into making more than 6,000 consumer products, according to the U.S. Department of Energy. So that includes computer keyboards, lipstick, tennis rackets, pajamas, soft contact lenses, detergent, chewing gum, shoes, crayons, shaving cream, pillows, aspirin, dentures, tape, umbrellas, nylon guitar strings, just a few of the items. So far, the year's most tangible and immediate effect for many people outside the conflict zone has been spiking gasoline prices, airfares, and flight fees as airlines respond to the rising cost of jet fuel. Consumers, though, may find themselves paying more for food, furniture, or any of the myriad of goods transported by trucks that run on diesel. Crude oil isn't just refined as fuel, it gets turned into chemicals, waxes, oils, and other mixtures that appear in a vast array of everyday items, including most made with plastic and rubber. And Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders are set to vote today on the company's proposed $81 billion sale to Skydance-owned Paramount in a mega merger that could vastly reshape Hollywood and the wider media landscape. Paramount wants to buy all of Warner, That means HBO Max, cult favorite titles like Harry Potter, and CNN could soon find themselves under the same roof as Paramount's CBS and Top Gun and the Paramount Plus streaming service. And a green light from the shareholders would bring the acquisition closer to the finish line. Shareholders are expected to meet to vote on the deal, which is valued at nearly $111 billion, including debt based on Warner's current outstanding shares. Even if approved, a Paramount-Warner combo would still face ongoing regulatory reviews, including from the U.S. Department of Justice. Warner has said it expects to close the deal sometime in the third quarter. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX. From Wednesday, your market movers. APD Limited moving 210 shares, closing at $50 unchanged. Bank of the Bahamas moving 1,000, up 50 cents to $7.50. Commonwealth Bank moving 6,300, up 1 cent to $4.40. J.S. Johnson moving 1,000, up $1.49 to $18.25. Consolidated Water up 2 cents to $6.71, and Emira Incorporated down 6 cents, closing at $12.57. Index closing at 3,182.84, up 1.96. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by South for future generations. Laverne Gardner, our final couple of minutes on the show today. Some interesting discussions we had today again.
We did.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get any answers about some of the things that have been raised? About more of the inner workings of parks and beaches and parks, what goes on there?
I'm going to need that to happen.
Yeah. Employee complement. We need to know all these things.
Yeah. If we're going to take beaches and parks seriously, we're going to need to understand how this really works. And there needs to be an independent, not government appointed, an independent oversight of that.
Yeah.
Has to be. And then that way we would have a better what's happening. We may find that less contracts are given out. And, we won't have to continue to call this a slush fund every election cycle.
My goodness. But don't hold your breath. But we are hoping that it will happen. We are hoping that it's going to happen. And we're hoping that we'll learn more about what's going on with Pike and Island Grid and BGC, Bahamas Grid, and the quest to find more employees who can help get the T&D network heading in the right path. We're still getting lots of text messages, concerns from people living in Western New Providence. Things just aren't going well in terms of power out there. But hey, well, we're gonna see. We'll see. And will we ever hear from the Commissioner of Police, the National Security Minister, anybody on the situation involving the police involved, the off-duty officer who shot a man dead?
No.
What's going on there?
I would be very surprised, but we're not going to hear anything.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's been, Dwight, how long has it been? And we have not heard anything. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to hear anything.
Well, we can't stop talking about it. We need to know what's going on.
No, that's it. We have to keep it in the news cycle.
Yeah.
We have to keep talking about it.
So we will do that. We will keep asking, and somebody say something. Somebody say something, for the love of God. But anyway, Laverne, I appreciate you always. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Always a pleasure.
And I'll talk with you again next week. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day, everybody. On the Clock with Aaron Green is next.
When you trust your television, what you get is what you got. 'Cause when they own the information, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't
is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.